Namaste yogis, welcome to your practice. This is Stephen from YogaWorks. I've called this class Restore and Release, and it's going to be a restorative practice as the name suggests, in which we're going to try and prop ourselves up in such a way that we can completely let go. This should be 45 minutes of complete restorative bliss, and for that we're going to need a lot of props. First you need a wall, so I've set my mat up against the wall. It's a good idea to do that now. And I've got two blankets here. I've got two blocks. It's quite a bit, I told you. I've got a bolster, and then we might even need a strap. If you don't have some or even all of these elements, you'll still be fine. But I'd recommend at least to get a couple of pillows, and actually the more props you have in the restorative practice, the more comfortable you can sort of install yourself. So just before we start, in this practice we're not looking for any intensity. We're not even looking to stretch. There might be some elements of a stretch or lengthening or opening, but what I would really like to focus on is the feeling of releasing into relaxation, and let that be our focus of today. So it's a little bit different than a yin practice where we are looking for some intensity, but not in with muscular engagement like in a yang practice. So this is more of a restorative practice. So get your props, and for the first one we're going to need two blankets or something that resembles that. And it's best to have a really old blanket like this one. You know, if you have a new blanket, it's not gonna work. No, it will work, but this old yoga blanket is really something about it. So fold it like this, so that you have a bit of a narrow strip, and be a little bit anal about the setup, so that later you can really get super comfortable. So this one goes in the middle of the mat, a little bit towards the head end, let's call it. And then the other blanket, I'm going to fold it the same way. One day I'm going to do a video on how to fold blankets or get your props ready, but not today. So about the same way. You don't want the tassels in your face if there's any, like this one. So I'm moving them to the opposite way, and I'm putting it like in a T shape with a little bit of a lift at the top of the second blanket. Good, and now we're ready for our first pose. You know, half of a restorative practice is actually getting set up, and then place your hips just in front of the bottom of the T, and then we'll probably have to try it out. You might have to wiggle around so that your spine, the middle of your back, is resting on that middle blanket, and then the top of the T, the top blanket, is supporting your head quite nicely. And then just make sure there's a little bit of space under your neck, so that your neck can be comfortable. And then I'd like to stretch the legs out, but you can also keep the knees bent if that's okay. You can do with the arms whatever you want. It could be Shavasana, could be cactus arms. You could rest your hands on your torso, and then take a few moments just to wiggle around, just to get really comfortable, and invite yourself to drop into this practice. Every single one of these poses should feel like a coming home, like a warm hug, that kind of sensation where your whole body can just soften down and relax into it. And then here we're in the mildest of back bends. There's a little lift in the middle of the back, in the spine area. There's a bit of support under the shoulder blades, so that the chest is nice and open. And hopefully you feel that the shoulders can relax on either side, and actually your whole body can relax to the sides. Imagine there's a midline in the body, and everything to the right relaxes to the right. Everything to the left of this line softens to the left. And then with a little head support, hopefully it makes your head and neck feel like they can completely let go and rest back. And if you did it right, there should be a little lift in the chin. Nothing too intense. In fact, if there's any intensity, you'll have to look at that and hopefully prop yourself up so that it becomes way more comfortable. And then see gradually if you can peel away the layers of busyness, of speed that gets trapped in your body. Leave the constant rush of going from one thing to the next, of having this endless to-do list. And the more you tick off, the more gets added at the back. Just leave it for a while. Everything will be there when you return, except you'll feel much calm and relaxed. This is why we're here. And then often it takes a while, a couple of deeper breaths, maybe some conscious awareness of tension that releases in the body. It takes a while to completely let go. And most likely when you feel you're completely letting go, there's still another layer of letting go that is still waiting for you. And if it feels good, you can take slow, deep breaths, unbrushed. Not deep as in forceful, but deep as in deep into the belly, and as subtle as you can make the breath. Once in a while, if you feel like you're still a little bit tense in some areas, maybe your back, maybe your shoulders, maybe the face, you can always sigh the breath out and see if that helps to let go a little bit more. Just feel your whole body resting here. And feel this appreciation for yourself for taking a break. You have left the rat race for this moment, hopefully for many moments, but this is a good start. And let's take 4, maybe 5 more slow breaths here. With every exhale, feel your spine, feel the whole body settle deeper and deeper into the pose. And feel this solid support underneath you. Remember, sighing is always good to release some stubborn tension. Let's take one more slow breath here. Good, we're going to transition to the next pose, but I don't want you to sit up all of a sudden and lose the relaxation we've already created. So take it really slowly. Take the next couple of minutes to transition to the next pose. That's a good setup. I like to bend the knees. You can roll to one side and then post one hand, slowly come up. Don't rush the lifting of your head. Stay here for a moment if you'd like to. And then if you don't have a bolster, you can use the 2 blankets on top of each other to create this bolster kind of shape. If you do have a bolster, grab it now. It's going to be handy for the next pose. And we're going to place it somewhere halfway the mat. You might have to adjust this a little bit later. And then make sure you have a bit of space above your head. Now, I'm turned onto my right side with the knees about 45 degrees down the length of the mat. And then I'm sliding the bolster under the bottom part of the rib cage on your side. Good. And then when it's comfortable, you can start to lie down with your side onto the bolster, and then reach your bottom arm over the head so that you have a place to rest your head. I like to place it on the biceps on that upper arm. If this is not comfortable, you might need to take a block under this head or a blanket or a pillow or something to make sure your head can just rest here. And then when you're ready, lift the top arm and join the two hands together over the head. You have to be super active. In fact, the less you do, the better. So let the hands relax, let the arms relax. The arms are sort of straight-ish, but you don't have to be really rigid about it. And I just feel this bit of pressure from the bolster or the blankets onto your bottom side ribs. And of course, this opens the top of the side ribs. For me, it's my left side. And see if you can take a few deeper breaths there. It always takes a few moments for your body to accept this new pose, this new situation you find yourself in. And see gradually over the next breath if you can settle into this a little bit more. Accept the support of the pillow or the bolster. Enjoy the openness of the top side of the ribs. And breathe into the sides of your rib cage. Of course, if it feels good, you can close eyes. And just let everything slow down to a more grounded, relaxed pace. Now feel this grounding, not through your back, but through your side body. And a little bit heavier in all the points that touch the mat or the bolster. Just let go completely. Sometimes we seem to be bracing ourselves against the support, but here you can just let go all the way. Don't hold back. And the next breath, hold back even less. Now you find another little pocket of resistance, of tension. Invite it to soften, breathe around it. Good. And slowly moving really gently lift up. Again, there's no rush. And we're going to set up on the other side. You can just swing your legs around or turn away from the screen if that's easier for you. So the bolster goes about halfway the mat. You need a bit of space, as you know now, over the head. The knees, I like to just bend them about 90 degrees. And then place the bolster more or less in the same place where you had it on the first side, so that we're getting a similar setup. Reach the bottom arm over the head. Let the head rest on that bicep. And then when you're ready, reach the top arm up and over. Let the palms rest on top of each other. And wiggle around until you find a place where you can stay for a bit. You might take a few breaths to settle in. You might need to sigh some of the tension away again. And although I've tried to set up the pose as similarly as possible on the second side, it's still bound to be a very different experience. This is normal. We all have these asymmetries in our bodies. But through yoga, we are becoming a little bit more aware of it. You start to get to know yourself a little bit better, the reality of being in this human body. And again, check, are you holding yourself up against gravity, or can you rest down a little bit more? We like all these poses to feel super restorative and welcoming. If it's a crazy intense stretch for your body, then please feel free to modify. What works for me may not be what your body needs. In the last few breaths here, breathe into the sides of your ribcage. Get this sideways expansion with the breath. Notice your ribcage is like an accordion. There's quite a bit of space and movement between those ribs. See if you can send the breath there. One more deeper breath. And then slowly start to think about coming out. Good. Next, we'll do, you might need a block for this next one. We'll do a little progression of twists, restorative twists. So grab your block, have it somewhere nearby, and lie down on your, let's lie down on the back to start, then we'll take it from there. Lie down on your back. Place your feet quite wide. I like the edges of the mat actually for this. And then lower both knees over to the right side. Nice. There's nothing else you need to do. You can just let the legs rest as they are. And then you can reach the arms out into a T. We don't need a block yet, but maybe for the next variation we might. And then take a moment here in the simplest, most open of twists. One leg is rotating externally, that's your right. The left leg is rotating internally. The pelvis is slightly turned to the right, but quite mildly so. You might feel a gentle stretch at the front of the left hip or thigh. There's an option here of placing the outer right ankle on top of that left knee, but sometimes for me when I do this it goes into my lower back, and then I'm in this little bit of a tense backbend shape. It doesn't always feel so restorative all of a sudden. So in the yang class we might be looking for those sensations, but here we're not. So if it goes into your lower back like it does for me, rather let the right foot just rest on the mat. And then notice, is it hard for you not to look for more sensation? Are you able to choose a really simple, really mild option, which is really what we're after today? And as always, let the breath move through the shape. Let the body enjoy not having to do anything strenuous, just being really supported, really comfortable. As I told you, we have a little progression of 3 twists. So this was the first one. You are welcome to stay in the first one. If this just feels really good, you want to spend some more time here, then this is great. If you are keen to do a bit more progression, I like to shift the hips to the left, just so the spine stays in one line, and then place the left knee on top of the right. And if you're like me, this doesn't really feel so great because that left shoulder needs to lift. So that's why we've got the block handy here. And you can just place the block between the two knees or the two thighs. So there's a bit more space between the legs. And hopefully the top leg can rest down easily on that block. If it rests easy on the bottom leg, you can also do that. But what we don't want is a deep twisting sensation. We want to feel restored and we want to be able to release in this pose. So once you have arrived, do just that. You really arrive. You arrive in your body. You arrive in this new shape. And as always, it might take you a few breaths to settle in. Feel the weight of the arms and the upper back on the mat. Feel your head resting back. Sometimes in a twist, we look in the opposite direction of where the legs are going. But for today, I wouldn't recommend this. I would say keep the head a bit neutral, or for me, it feels good to have the head in the direction of the chest. So for me, it's slightly to the right. Just play around with this until you feel it's just right. And probably yanking your head to the left wouldn't add to the restorative qualities of the pose. So see if you can avoid that. Good, and option 3, you know that you're welcome to do option 1, option 2. It's not that 3 is better, it's just that it might be nice to approach the twist from different variations. So for this one, you would cross the left knee over the right. You would stay on the same side, and what I like to do here is to place the block under this top knee. This just creates a really nice little platform of support. And you'll probably feel that this twist is deeper because of the position of the legs compared to the previous 2 options. And if that feels like you've lost the restorative quality, you can no longer breathe easily, you can no longer relax, then go back to option 2 or option 1. Just choose the option that really restores you the most today. There's enough other times where we have to do really difficult stuff and we don't really have an option of dialing it back. So enjoy having that option. Rest the head back. Keep softening the shoulders. If you want to sigh, or let the breath go through the mouth. It's always a good idea. Good, and then we'll go back to the 2 previous options just to gradually come out. So uncross the legs, maybe place the block between the thighs. This is option 2. Maybe you're still here from before, it's fine. And then just a moment in option 1, you can just slide that top leg back so that the feet are separated quite a bit. The left knee is close to the right foot. And you'll feel the twist is a bit less. And then slowly lift the knees back to center. Just take a moment here in the middle to notice how you feel. Nice. Ready for the second side. Grab the block if you enjoyed using it before. As we did before, place the feet on the edges of the mat. And then lower both knees over to the left, keeping the feet separated. You know you can place the left outer foot on the top of the right knee. But again, like now, I feel this goes into the lower back and creates this spinal extension. It can feel nice, but it doesn't feel restorative, so I'm not going to do it. So rather let the legs just relax, let the feet rest down, and feel the mildest of twists, maybe a bit of length in the front of the right thigh and hip. But most of the work today is to peel away the layers of tension that we've been living with, that might be wearing you down. And to do that, we need to stay in a really supported pose for a little bit longer than we usually would. That's really when the restorative work takes hold. We can counter that the busyness, the chaos that exists all around and also inside of us. Good. Option 2, maybe grab the block, shift the hips a little bit to the right so that your spine stays in one line, and place the right knee on top of the left. I like to have the block in between the knees just to have a bit more support, and then place your upper back and shoulders and arms on the mat so that they're really comfortable. If your top knee slides a little bit back from the bottom knee, or the right hip shifts a little bit forward, all of this is fine. Allow your body to find its own best setup, and you'll know when it's right, where you can feel like you don't have to hold back, you don't have to strain to hold yourself up, and hopefully the breath can flow with ease in each of these poses. Feel that the body sinks down more and more. The breath settles inside whichever shape you find yourself in now. And if you do all of this, the mind gets an invitation to also sit back a little bit more, to not have to run the show at every moment, not have to plan and doubt and act. Nice. The third variation, keep the block handy if you like the support, is the right leg wraps around the left, and then I like to place the block under the top knee so that it can really rest down, and then place the arm back, and you probably feel this is quite a bit of a deeper twist, so if it's too much, just go back to the other side. And if it's too much only on this side and on the other side you were able to do it, then rather choose the most restorative option. Here you are, the safe place of your yoga mat, the safe space of your body. You've taken a little holiday, a mini self-retreat. So well done. Well done for stepping back, for not always pushing harder, which is likely to be your default, or at least it is for me. are with your body, with this breath right here. And with that busy mind that keeps going on in the background, but hopefully it's a bit more in the background than before. Good. We'll gently make our way back. You can return to option 2, the knees on top of each other, just for a breath or so. It's good to reverse engineer. And then slide the top leg to separate the feet, back to option 1. Notice how extremely simple all these poses are. And then lift the knees back to center and just take it all in, lying on your back. Good, and let's make our way up. You're gonna need a block for this one, maybe even 2. Or if you have a bolster, that could be a nice head support. I'll show you in a moment. So grab one block. We're going to do Janu Sirsasana at the wall. So one option, if you don't have a block, just have the right foot at the wall and the left knee is opening to the side. Don't pull the left hip back as far as it goes. We don't want to have the hips facing diagonally. Keep them facing towards, straight forward towards the wall. If you have a block, what's really nice is to scoot a tiny bit back and place the block under the ball of the foot, and this just lengthens that heel a bit more underneath that block, and you get a bit more length in the calf, the lower part of the leg. Nice. And then I quite like some extra support under that left knee. It does go down, but it feels like a bit of a strain to hold it up sometimes. And then grab your bolster, just get all the props, just empty your whole house, take everybody's pillow, and use it for your restorative practice. So now we're hinging from the hips, and just find a way to support your head. For me, this works quite nicely if I place the bolster and on top of that right leg and rest my forehead on, and then rest the arms in a place that feels like you can just let them go. We won't hold this pose for too long, but this is a really nice one to lengthen the hamstrings, breathe some space into the lower back. Maybe even get a mild hip stretch on the left side. And because the head is supported, hopefully it gives you that extra sense of calm and introspective quality. You can have a look inside. Already the whole day or most of the day our senses are tuned to the outside world, what's happening with other people around you, what's happening at work, what's happening in the traffic. But now in our little self-retreat here, we don't need to worry about all of this, the traffic and the work and other people. You can just look inwards. This is just for you. You've set up the pose so that it works for your body. And you're breathing yourself into a deeper state of relaxation. Can the shoulders soften a little bit more? Mine usually can. If I'm swatting stuff away, it's usually a mosquito because I live in a malaria risk area. So if that's the same for you, you might need to remove the malaria risk by swatting the mosquito. There's nothing restorative about having malaria. One more deeper breath. Breathe into your whole back body. And then slowly take your time to lift up. Nice. We're going to try and copy the same thing to the second side, so straighten the left leg. If it's at the wall, that's fine. It's good to have that bit of support behind the foot. And if you have a block, even better, because then the ball, the foot can push onto the block and the heel can lengthen a little bit more at the bottom. And then the right knee is going to bend. Maybe pop a block or something under that right outer thigh. And then remember, our sides are really different, so don't be surprised if this is a whole new story. Make your way in by folding over that left leg. It's a good idea to grab something to support your forehead. Doesn't matter how many pillows you need to stack on top of each other. 5, 7, 10. When I started yoga, I needed crazy amount of props. And actually now I still do. And then find the position is just right. You need to be a bit of a Goldilocks yogi in these restorative practices. You set it up just right, where your body feels optimally supported, it feels safe, it feels held, and you have permission to let go. Give yourself permission. Feel the breath move in your back body, the lower part of the rib cage, the lower back, all the way down to the hips. As the breath leaves your body with the exhale, sink a little bit deeper. Not that you have to push further, but just you can let go into the shape. And sometimes this slowing down and this surrendering and allowing is actually the hardest part. In my own experience, it's much harder for me. It's much easier to push and to rush and to be busy and to add more onto my plate. And it's much harder to say, hold on, I'm taking some time for myself. So, to many of us, this takes a real guts to not be busy, to not be in a state of tension. Two more deeper breaths. Maybe sigh the breath out if that feels good. Beautiful. Slowly rise. Keep your bolster or maybe the 2 blankets nearby for the next pose. A block could also work, but it's nicer to have a softer surface. You'll see why in a moment. And then it's time for one of my favorite poses of all time, which is Viparita Karani, the legs up the wall pose. So for this, I like to place the bolster quite close to the wall, but with a little bit of a gap. Not quite a hand's distance, but maybe 10 centimeters or so. You might need to adjust that a bit. And then we're going to get in. If you have no idea how do I shuffle in, there's a neat little trick. So take your buttocks, squeeze them into this corner with the mat, and then roll onto your back. And then from there, hopefully it's not too big of a task to settle in. So shuffle the hips in, let the legs go straight up towards the sky. Relax the shoulders down. It might be nice to ever so slightly squeeze the shoulder blades underneath you and then rest the upper back down. Just have a nice open chest. And then I mentioned the strap in the beginning. If it feels like your legs, if you need to hold them up and they feel like they're going to slide apart, then it's good to strap them together, just to loop a strap around the thighs. I can show you with the strap here. And it's worth it to take as much time as you need to get really comfortable, because then the next minutes in the pose are just going to be amazing. So the strap just allows your legs to rest out against these outer edges, to have just an extra little bit of support. Rest your arms when they're comfortable. Let go of all the fiddling of your props and your straps and your pillows. Let everything just rest in the right place. Just feel the heels on the wall. Let the wall support the weight of the legs. Feel a sense of lightness in the legs. They don't need to run around and hold yourself up. They're on holiday. And feel the hips softening down. Feel the spine relax deeper and deeper towards the mat. Feel the support under your upper back and your shoulders, all the way down to your arms and hands. And feel the head rest back. And this is a super mild inversion, where the head is slightly below the level of the heart. So you're getting a lot of those benefits of being upside down, but in a super restorative way. Got another 1 or 2 minutes here. And I'm just going to keep quiet for a minute or so to let you enjoy your inner stillness. Yogis, if you have a couple more minutes, and if this feels amazing and super restorative, then by all means stay in this legs up the wall mini holiday. If your yoga time is up, you had 45 minutes to restore and relax, then we're right about that mark, around that mark. So if you got a strap, it's probably a good idea to take it off first and to roll off to your side and come to a seat. Close your eyes, just sit, or maybe you're still lying down. Take a moment to feel your body after restoring and releasing. Of course, one session is great, but it may not be enough to really get to some deep health tension. We might need to come back to this a couple more times. Or if any of these poses feel amazing, maybe you need to add it into your daily routine if you can. Anyway, I hope you feel amazing. I hope you feel a little bit more relaxed than when you started. Touch your hands to your forehead, to your heart, and bow to yourself on the mat. Yogis, thank you so much for practicing. Namaste. Stay well. Stay restored and relaxed as much as possible. And I am looking forward to practicing with you again. Keep well.